This is Sagar Tamane from EPR magazine, and we are here with a lot of excitement to cover the grand opening of CTC Global's first manufacturing facility in India. During this inauguration session, we caught up with David Chiesa, who is the VP of Global Sales and Business Development. And David will brief us about CTC Global as an enterprise, and also he will set a tone for the roadmap, what CTC Global has in the Indian parlance. So David, thank you so much for your time given to speak with EPR magazine. So tell us that CTC Global has a long history of collaboration with customers, universities, and industry experts. Can you share some recent examples of innovative products or services that have resulted from these kind of partnerships?
Probably the most interesting development that we've had globally is advanced reconductoring. So that was actually developed here with partner customers in India. And the idea was to take an existing transmission line and then, without modifying anything except the conductor, you could go and increase the capacity of the transmission line by just changing out the conductor. So that collaboration with the customers here in India is what really led to this concept of advanced conductoring, which is being used literally around the world. We've got 175,000 kilometers in the air, and the vast majority of those kilometers are advanced reconductoring, which started right here in India.
Okay, great. Given this fact, your solutions aim to maximize efficiency with quick and reliable implementation. So tell us a recent project where CTC Global Solutions significantly increased the transmission line capacity without structural modifications.
Sure. The main value proposition for our flagship product, which is ACCC conductor, it is quick transition from one level of ampacity to one that's twice that size. So that's what we do. And it's very easy to point to examples because they're literally all over. But one I want to talk to actually took place in Canada. It's really interesting. The utility in Canada had designed a line from start to finish. But in the process of designing that line, it takes several years. India happens to be one of the fastest places in the world to develop a new line. In other areas, it could take up to 5 to 7 years. So in Canada, 5 years into their development process, they were ready to start building the line and realized that the capacity had grown such that the line was over capacity before it was ever built.
Okay.
And so what they did is they took ACCC conductor and they reconductored and used advanced reconductoring on the line without actually ever having built it. And so you were able to double the capacity and then build the line as scheduled. So that's probably one of those innovative solutions that comes about through awareness of what advanced conductors can do.
Doubling the capacity of existing transmission lines without structural modifications is really a significant achievement, what you guys have done. So can you elaborate on the technology and processes, how it was made possible?
Absolutely. The neat part about this is it's all just physics, right?
Yeah.
It's mechanical engineers, civil engineers, electrical engineers. And what we did is we took an aerospace technology, carbon fiber composites. They're used in the wings of airplanes. And we applied that technology to overhead conductors, a technology that had not been touched in over 100 years. So with this new technology, it's very simple. It's 50% stronger and 70% lighter than steel. So we were able to replace the steel that's inside the conductor, the legacy type conductors, with this carbon fiber composite. And then we replaced both the weight of the steel and that additional size with more aluminum. And there's an old, very well-known equation called V equals IR squared. And with that, when you put more conductive material on a conductor, you end up with more capacity. Okay. And so it's a very simple equation, right, and it uses aerospace materials to be able to achieve it.
Let's talk about thermal sag, SAG. So thermal sag and the need for longer spans between structures are common issues these days. So how does CTC Global's technology mitigate these challenges and reduce the project cost overall?
Yeah. So the question you're really asking about is right-of-ways, right? So right-of-way is an important hot topic all over the world. There's two sayings in English. There's banana, build absolutely nothing anywhere at any time. Right. Then there's NIMBY, not in my backyard. And I think that applies everywhere. No matter where you are in the world, nobody wants another transmission line. They want the power, but they don't want to have another transmission line right away built. So what ACCC does is it allows you to maximize your rights of ways. So in two different ways. One, you optimize the absolute most power that you can get down the line. The second one is it reduces the size of the right of the way in two different ways. The first way is by creating longer spans, so you can actually make the distance between towers longer and reduce the total number of towers. Yeah. That's one. The second one is because the sag, the thermal coefficient of sag on our conductor is so significantly less legacy-based conductor, it doesn't sag as much ever. It's 1/10 of the sag over the lifetime of the product. And so this thing called blowout, as a conductor starts to sag, it moves back and forth in the wind. Well, if you don't sag, you don't move back and forth in the wind, so you can end up with a smaller right of way, even though you made the towers longer, the tower spans longer. So it's another critical material capability of the carbon fiber composites that we use to replace steel.
So I am prompted to ask one more follow-up question. India has a varied topography and demographics. Some areas you see very windy, very breezy. Some areas you see very calm weather. So how does this thermal sag operates over there?
Thermal sag is heavily affected by the weather. Yeah. Whatever the weather is where you are. It's kind of interesting. More wind helps you reduce the temperature of the conductor, which means you can put more power through the conductor. So that's a good thing. But the more power you put through there, the more sag you get on legacy type conductors. Our conductor hits a knee point, and then it never sags past that knee point, no matter how much power you put through it. So if you're talking about a windy area, it means that it takes longer to hit the knee point. And even after it does, you can still put more power through the line because the wind is blowing, but you don't have to worry about the blowout because the coefficient of thermal expansion stops with our product. And it really provides a lot of benefit.
So talk to us about CTC Global's main goals in terms of innovation and sustainability over the next 5 years as CTC Global Enterprise.
Yeah, this is a neat one. So we have several different things that we have in our innovation pipeline. And I'll be happy to talk to you about those when my Vice President of Engineering allows me to. Okay. But we do have innovations today. So for instance, one of the things that we've launched is called InfoCore. So you have ACCC, so it's the same conductor that we have today, but we've installed 4 fiber optics into the core. And that makes this the only inspectable conductor in the world. And our CEO and our company philosophy says that you shouldn't pay for peace of mind. That should be included in the product, right? That should be a basic condition. Yeah. And so when we include InfoCore, we include it at no additional charge, and it gives the utilities the ability to verify that the installation was done correctly and that they're going to get the full life of the product. Now you say, okay, well, why is that an innovation? Well, we're the only company in the world that offers an inspectable conductor. We've actually already put 5,500 kilometers of that conductor in the air today, and that's more than almost all of our competitors combined have put of any type of composite core conductor. So we're pretty far down the innovation path with that, and more great things to follow in the near future.
Okay. The continuation of this would be, how do you see the role of your technology evolving in context of global efforts to expand electricity and most importantly to combat the climate change, sustainability, clean energy, green energy? So your thoughts on this?
Sure. So there's 2 thoughts that I have. CTC Global affects climate change. The first one is the ability to interconnect renewables. Yeah. A renewable wind plant or solar plant can be built 18 months, maybe 2 years. Frankly, in India, it's even faster. The interconnection to be able to bring that power onto the grid and then distribute it on the grid, that takes a lot longer in today's world to be able to do that. ACCC changes all that because you can optimize the lines that already exist, right? So you can get to market faster with renewable energy, which helps the overall grid. The other one is when you use our product, because there's more aluminum on it, you get a 30% efficiency gain. So if you're going to put 100 megawatts in, go 100 kilometers, typically, in fact, you heard some statistics today say that you could lose up to 36%. Now, that's a really, really heavily loaded line. We typically use 9%. And so if you put 100 megawatts in, typically you get 91 megawatts out 100 kilometers away. With our conductor, you get 94 megawatts at the other side. So whatever that generation source is, you're using it more efficiently to feed the load. So between interconnecting renewables faster to market, and then efficiency in terms of operation of the conductor, those are the ways that we feel like CTC is a real climate change engine for people to use.
Okay. That also drives sustainability as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What are the advancements currently taking place in power transmission technology? You already spoke of some last time. So any more advancements you see happening in this sector?
Yeah, the interesting thing is when I came into this sector, to use a word, it wasn't sexy at all. If you were an electrical engineer, we heard from Mr. Das that being an electrical engineer wasn't always exciting. But today, it is. The change is coming. There's all kinds of interesting things. Think about the advent of renewables. Hydrogen technology is right behind it. And then you go and you look at dynamic line ratings, the ability to accurately predict what's going on a transmission line. These are all exciting developments that give us opportunities to take this thing that literally the world has been built on. No electricity, no anything, right? No advanced civilization. And it gives us an opportunity to make it better quickly. And that's exciting. So I think those advancements are a lot of fun, and they're making electrical engineering sexy again.
Okay. I'll come to my last question as far as the global perspective is concerned, and then we'll move to some questions in the Indian context or in the Indian parlance. So how do your range of products and solutions help in reducing power loss and enhance power transmission? Where do you specialize there?
Yes, and this takes us back to our basic value proposition, right? The basic value proposition of ACCC is for the same exact size conductor. So the names of conductors are kind of varied, but Brussels is a very common conductor name. So if you took Brussels and you had Brussels ACSR, let's say that's 600 amps. If you took Brussels for ACCC, it would be 1,200 amps, right? And so that ability to double the capacity, but it's the same exact size. It's literally the same outside diameter, exactly the same weight, but double the capacity, 30% better efficiency, and 1/10 the lifetime sag. That's a pretty big advancement, and it just changes the way a utility can manage their grid. Now, there's a lot of changes that come along with it, right? Twice the capacity might mean that the breakers that you have on that line, the transformers have to be upgraded and everything else. But the neat part about it is, if you do the transmission line first, you get benefits associated with efficiency, optionality, overloading, as you're working through the rest of the changes that have to happen to the grid. So that's my summation of how our technology is helping the power grid.
And I also feel, with the use of IoT and digitalization, these things can pretty much be taken care of.
Absolutely. IoT and interconnectivity is something that CTC is working on as well. So some of those future innovations I talked about, keep your eyes open. Those could be included on the horizon. Okay.
So coming to the big day of CTC Global in India, let's talk about something which has got really to do with the Indian parlance, since you have set up this huge manufacturing facility in India. Let us see what this manufacturing facility is going to do, or what role this manufacturing facility is going to play as far as your ambitions in the Indian market are concerned. So can you please take us through the future plans of CTC Global in India over the next 5 years? How do you see the outlook over there?
Sure. So our CEO, J.D. Sitton, in his address today said that this is not the pinnacle. This is not the culmination of our activities in India. In fact, this is just a continuation of what we're doing. So right now the factory has about 3,000 kilometers of capacity here, but it's expandable. And as you go through the tour, and we encourage anyone to come to Pune and see the tour, see the factory, we can take and show you. There's yellow dots on the floor as you walk through the production facility that indicate where future machines will go.
Oh, okay.
And that's what we anticipate to happen. India is the fastest growing economy in the world.
Absolutely.
It's going to be the third largest economy in a short period of time. And as a result, the power grid will continue to need more power.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way around that. It's an advanced civilization. It needs electricity. That's what it needs. And so we see that continuing to grow. We see this plant continuing to grow with India. And we're doing it in conjunction with our partners. We have some fantastic partners in Sterlite Power, EPR, Gupta Industries, and JSK Industries. They have really helped us throughout the process. Another company by the name of TAG is our hardware partner, and they've helped us through this process as well. So it's a team effort, but it's a team effort that we see continuing to grow. This is just the start. This isn't the finish.
One of the slogans which was raised by this government of India was ease of doing business in India. So many companies came to India. They found compliances and regulations very easily to navigate through. So how easy was it for CTC Global to navigate through the compliances and the regulation issues, and how easy was it for you to make this slogan successful, ease of doing business?
Great question. And again, our partners really came to our aid. Once we identified that we wanted to do this, they connected us with the government of Maharashtra, even the local provincial area of Pune and Chaka here. Those are all the governments came in to help. Thankfully, all those governments were represented here today at the ribbon cutting. So they made it easy for us. Now, easy is a relative term. If you've ever tried to start a factory in another country, it's always difficult, right? You run into hurdles, you run into issues. The neat part about it was India, the country, as well as all the separate entities, the local province and the state and all, they were with us every step of the way and helped guide us through the process. Never was there ever anyone that said, this is not going to happen, you can't do this. It was all very constructive.
Supportive.
They walked us through the process. It was really helpful.
Okay. I mean, that's really nice to hear that, companies from abroad are coming here, setting up their plants and their facilities, and most importantly, they find it very easy to navigate through the compliances and the regulation. So that's a good thing as far as we Indians are concerned as well. That brings to possibly my last question. Could you elaborate on how you plan to integrate your advanced transmission technologies into the Indian power grid? For example, the ACCC thing.
Yeah, so we've had fantastic success already in India. You saw some of the statistics from Mr. Desai that runs EPR, and you saw some of the other statistics. India has a real need for the product that we produce. India needs more power, right? And so that works well for CTC Global. So what I see in the future is we're already doing well on the transmission side because that's an obvious application. But it's there's this old theory called the theory of constraints. When you solve one problem, inherently you then create the next problem, right? So that's what's going to happen is as the transmission system gets more capable, you create a bottleneck in the distribution system. And that's really where I think CTC Global will be focused in the future is as the transmission system continues to adopt ACCC, now the distribution system is going to have to keep up in order to be able to facilitate the changes that the transmission system made.
Possibly you can answer this last one. I'm very tempted to ask you more questions. What we face is quality of power here in India. There are a lot of voltage fluctuations. So sometimes the voltage is high, sometimes it is low, and it happens very abruptly. There is no prior intimation. So how do one ensure that the quality of power is sustained throughout, from the transmission till the distribution till it comes to our factories or our homes? Any thoughts on this, sir?
You, my friend, have asked an incredibly complicated power engineering problem. Engineers have been trying to solve this for ages, and there's lots and lots of different solutions that you can do. But they all require time, money, and energy. The equation that I talked about, V equals IR, that predicts that there will be voltage drop over any period of distance that you're going to go. It's just the nature of electricity. It's electrons. It's physics. And so you're going to have that. But there are solutions. One of them is what the country of India is already doing, more generation. When you could put more generation in more places, every time you put generation into the grid, you prop up that portion of the grid, you stiffen it. And so more generation in more places is a great start. There are other things you can do which are much more complicated that I'm sure your listeners are not interested in. I said it was sexy earlier. It's not that sexy. But yeah, there are solutions. But the first one is bringing more generation in more places stiffens the grid, and that's probably one of those solutions that gives you a double benefit. You get the stiffening of the grid, but you also get more access to renewable generation.
Okay. So that was David Chiesa speaking exclusively with EPR Magazine. We thank him so much for his time given to EPR Magazine, and we wish David and his team at CTC Global a very successful journey from here on in India. Thank you so much, David, for your time.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. That was outstanding. Thank you.